Welcome to the hidden world of athletic recovery, the untold chapter in the story of sporting excellence. I'm about to take you behind the curtain of professional sports, revealing recovery techniques that elite athletes have kept to themselves for decades. Think about it. We celebrate the spectacular moments, the record-breaking sprint, the impossible save, the perfect score. We analyze training regimens, nutrition plans, and psychological preparation. But what happens in those crucial hours and days between performances? That's where championships are truly won, where careers are extended, and where the line between good and great is drawn. Recovery isn't just rest, it's a science, an art, and for many top athletes, it's become something of a secret weapon. While they'll happily discuss their training schedules or diet plans in press conferences, have you noticed how vague they become when asked about recovery? There's a reason for that silence. In my 15 years working with Olympic medalists and world champions across multiple sports, I've witnessed recovery techniques that would sound like science fiction to most people. Techniques that go far beyond ice baths and massage. Methods that dramatically accelerate healing, optimize hormonal balance, and literally reshape how the body responds to extreme stress. Today I'm breaking the code of silence, not to undermine these athletes' competitive edge, but because these techniques are too valuable to remain in the shadows. Whether you are a weekend warrior, an aspiring athlete, or someone dealing with chronic pain or fatigue, these methods can transform your relationship with your body. Let me be clear, what I'm sharing isn't theoretical. These are battle-tested techniques used by athletes who perform at levels most of us can barely comprehend. People whose bodies endure stresses that would break the average person, and yet they recover faster, more completely, and with greater consistency than seems humanly possible. The first secret lies in understanding that recovery isn't passive. Elite athletes don't just rest, they actively recover. They approach recovery with the same intensity, focus, and scientific precision as their training. They measure it, they track it, they optimize it relentlessly. Consider this. A professional soccer player in the English Premier League might run over 12 kilometers in a single match, including dozens of explosive sprints, jumps and direction changes. The microtrauma to muscles, the glycogen depletion, the nervous system fatigue. It's enormous. Yet 3 days later, they're ready to perform at peak levels again. This isn't just genetics, it's systematic application of recovery protocols that most people have never heard of. Or take elite ultramarathon runners who complete 100-mile mountain races, putting their bodies through 24+ hours of continuous exertion, and then, astonishingly, can walk normally within days. Meanwhile, a casual runner might be hobbled for a week after a simple half marathon. What explains this difference? It's not just that these athletes train harder, it's that they've mastered recovery techniques that dramatically accelerate their body's natural healing processes. In this series, we'll explore techniques like controlled hypothermia protocols that go beyond traditional sauna use, targeted electromagnetic stimulation that recharges cellular energy production, neurological reset techniques derived from Soviet sports science, specialized breathing methods that can shift your nervous system state in minutes, and chronobiological optimization that aligns recovery with your body's natural rhythms. We'll examine how professional athletes use sleep as a performance-enhancing tool, not just through quantity, but through precisely engineered quality. You'll learn about inflammation management strategies that don't rely on pharmaceuticals, tissue remodeling techniques that prevent injury cascades, and cognitive recovery practices that are as important as physical ones. But perhaps most importantly, you'll discover how to personalize these techniques. Because the second secret elite athletes understand is that recovery isn't one size fits all. Your body's recovery needs are as unique as your fingerprint, influenced by your genetics, training history, stress levels, nutritional status, and dozens of other factors. As we journey through these techniques, remember, this isn't about finding shortcuts. These methods aren't magic. They work because they align with your body's natural healing processes, amplifying and optimizing them rather than bypassing them. They require consistency, attention, and a willingness to listen to your body in new ways. By the end of this series, you'll have a recovery toolkit used by the world's best athletes, techniques that can help you bounce back faster, perform better, and potentially extend your active years significantly. This is the hidden side of athletic excellence, and it's time these secrets were shared. Are you ready to recover like a professional? Let's begin. Now that we've pulled back the curtain on these closely guarded recovery secrets, you might be wondering, how do I actually implement these techniques in my own life? This is where theory transforms into practice, where knowledge becomes power. Elite athletes understand that recovery is a system, not a collection of random techniques. The magic isn't in any single method, but in how these methods work together, creating a recovery ecosystem that's greater than the sum of its parts. Let's start with the foundation: sleep architecture optimization. While most people focus merely on hours slept, professionals meticulously engineer their sleep environment. Temperature regulation at precisely 65 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit or 18 to 19 degrees Celsius maximizes slow-wave sleep, the phase where human growth hormone secretion peaks and physical restoration accelerates. Blackout conditions eliminate even the smallest light sources that can reduce melatonin production by up to 50%. But here's what separates elite practitioners. They track their sleep stages using validated biometric devices, analyzing their slow wave and REM percentages like financial analysts studying market trends. They adjust factors like evening nutrition timing, blue light exposure, and supplementation protocols based on this data. For them, sleep isn't passive, it's a carefully orchestrated recovery symphony. Next comes the neurological reset protocol. Professional athletes have discovered that their nervous systems, not just their muscles, require structured recovery. Using contrast therapy that goes beyond traditional ice baths, they create precise temperature differentials that trigger a cascade of autonomic nervous system responses, rapidly shifting from sympathetic to parasympathetic dominance. The protocol typically involves 3-minute cold immersion at 50 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit or 10 to 13 degrees Celsius, followed by 4-minute heat exposure at 104 to 108 degrees Fahrenheit, 40 to 42 degrees Celsius, repeated 3 times and always finishing with cold. This isn't just about feeling refreshed, it's about deliberately manipulating your nervous system state, accelerating recovery markers by up to 60% compared to passive rest. Then there's the tissue remodeling approach. Elite athletes don't just address pain points, they systematically work through fascial lines and movement chains. Using specialized tools and techniques, they apply precisely calibrated pressure to trigger mechanotransduction, the process where physical pressure converts to biochemical responses that accelerate tissue repair. What makes their approach different is the sequencing and timing. They perform these techniques in the recovery window, 1 to 3 hours post-training, when gene expression for tissue remodeling is most responsive. They follow specific patterns that respect fascial continuity rather than isolating individual muscles, understanding that the body recovers as an integrated system. Nutritional periodization represents another level of sophistication. While most athletes maintain consistent diets, elite performers modulate their nutrition based on recovery phases. They increase anti-inflammatory compounds like omega-3 fatty acids, curcumin, and specific polyphenols during high-intensity blocks, then shift to collagen precursors and leucine-rich proteins during rebuilding phases. Their timing is equally precise, utilizing specific recovery windows, where nutrient partitioning favors repair over storage. Many use carbohydrate cycling strategies that deliberately fluctuate glycogen levels to enhance cellular sensitivity and mitochondrial biogenesis, effectively training their recovery systems just as they train their performance systems. Perhaps most fascinating is their approach to mental recovery. Elite athletes recognize that cognitive fatigue undermines physical recovery. They employ structured protocols including float tank sessions, guided visualization, and specific breathwork patterns that induce theta brainwave states, the frequency associated with enhanced recovery and reduced cortisol production. The key insight here is that mental recovery techniques aren't just for psychological well-being, they directly impact physical recovery markers, reducing inflammatory cytokines and enhancing parasympathetic nervous system activity. Now let's address the practical reality. You likely don't have an Olympic training center at your disposal. The good news? These techniques can be scaled and adapted. The principles matter more than the specific equipment. A bathtub with ice and hot shower creates an effective contrast therapy system. Affordable sleep tracking technology provides the same data professional athletes use. Nutrition timing costs nothing but attention and discipline. What truly matters is the mindset shift, approaching recovery with the same seriousness, structure, and scientific curiosity as your training. This is the meta secret that elite athletes understand. Recovery isn't what happens when you're not training. It's an equal partner in the performance equation. As you implement these techniques, remember that personalization is essential. Your recovery fingerprint is unique. Start with the foundational elements: sleep optimization, contrast therapy, targeted nutrition timing, and mental recovery practices. Track your results. Listen to your body's feedback. Adjust and refine. The athletes who stand on Olympic podiums aren't just talented or hardworking, they're masters of recovery. They understand that human performance isn't about pushing harder, it's about balancing stress and recovery in an elegant dance that extracts maximum adaptation with minimum cost. You now possess knowledge that most athletes spend years or even decades discovering through trial and error. These recovery secrets represent the accumulated wisdom of generations of elite performers who pushed the boundaries of human potential. The question isn't whether these techniques work. They've been validated both in scientific laboratories and in the ultimate testing ground of world-class competition. The question is, will you apply them with the consistency and precision they require? Your body has recovery capabilities far beyond what you have experienced so far. These methods unlock that potential. They transform recovery from passive waiting to active regeneration. They can extend your performance lifespan, reduce injury rates, and elevate your capabilities beyond what you thought possible. The secret is out. The methods are yours. Now it's time to recover like a professional. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of elite recovery techniques. Remember, champions aren't just made during training, they're made during recovery. Your greatest performances await.